the general ledger accounts or account or categories. QuickBooks calls them general ledger accounts, which is the accounting terms. Quicken calls them categories. Okay, so how are you going to categorize your expenses? Okay, is it going to be again the advertising and marketing? Is it going to be your supplies? Is it going to be your feed? Is it going to be your seed, labor? Those would be the categories. Okay, so to see the categories that are in there, you go up to tools. So a lot of the things that you need to do in here, you can look at the account list, you can look at calendars, your alerts, you can see your category list, and we also have what we call tags. Now tags would be, in QuickBooks would be the same thing as classes. Anybody ever worked with classes before? I was just telling Janetta about that. So classes or tags allows you to separate again that business versus personal. So if you have something that's a personal expense, you would flag it as personal. Okay? Or if you have different divisions within your organization, you might have tags for agritourism versus your crops. Okay? So anything that's kind of a different division. We've all been into retail stores, right? So we have men's division, women's division, we have youth division, we got cosmetics, so we have all these different divisions within one department store, because obviously the department store wants to know how each one of the divisions is doing individually. Okay? So think of your business that way. Anything that you can divide up into a division or revenue stream, you have your total company income, and then you have the different divisions that make up your total. Now, why would you want to break them down into different kind of divisions or categories? Like okay.
Needs, norms.
Okay. So you want to kind of see where you're being profitable. It may be that your beans are costing 10 times more than what you bring in, and your other businesses are taking that money and supplementing it. It makes it, yeah, you may be making money, but the bees are losing money. Okay? So you want to kind of look at what your categories are and try to tag them by division or revenue stream. But don't get down into the minutia, because sometimes you can have too much data and you get down to too small of a segment, then it just becomes impossible to analyze it as well, so you can go too far.
I put your vegetables in tomatoes, sales salad, something like that. That would be too much, right?
That would be, yeah, exactly. So the red tomato versus the golden tomato versus this tomato, that's just too much detail, and of course it can depend on the whims of the customer at the moment. You're just going to sell tomatoes or vegetables in general. Okay? So you just want to kind of decide what that balance is between, so start with the broadest divisions possible, and then you can break them down later if you so warrant. Remember, start simple and then expand out from there. Okay? So let's take a look at the category list. But before we do that, notice also over here you have your keyboard shortcuts. So as you're working through the system, instead of having to go to the menus, if I want to get the category list, you can do a Control-Shift-C. Okay? If I want my account list, it's Control-A. So just depending on whether you want to use the menus or whether you want to use the keyboard shortcuts, is completely up to you.
Where did you see that?
Right here.
Oh, see it? Yeah, I should see. Okay, yeah, I'm in control.
Yeah.
I see it all the time, everything.
Ever pay attention?
No.
Yeah, so that's what, yes, this works in any Windows program. So whenever you see that, it tells you if there's a keyboard shortcut. And as you get used to some of the standard ones, it makes life easier because you don't have to go to the menus all the time and remember where they are. They'll just pop up. So you can go ahead and click the category list. I'm just going to hit the escape button. So again, if I hit Control, Shift, and C, it's going to pop my category list up. I don't have to go to that menu or remember where it was. Okay? So go ahead and open up the category list. And you can make the window larger or smaller. Okay? Or you can just go ahead and maximize it if you want to. Okay, so on the category list here, we've got business and personal. That's pretty much the standard. This particular company also has rental properties and investment. So don't worry, don't get too specific about it. But most of the time, you've got the business and you've got the personal. And these are just the groups. Okay? The categories is more what you want to be concerned about. Okay? So this, again, said be the same thing as a chart of accounts, where we've got our different, again, I've got cleaning, I've got maintenance, I've got, in this case, again, those are the personal ones. And you can see that they're just in here in alphabetical order. Now some of them have sub-accounts. So in this farm interest expense, what are my sub-accounts? Right, the mortgage and the interest other. So again, it's just taking the interest and breaking it down. You typically do that with insurance as well. So you might have an insurance account, and you're going to break it down between liability account and crop account, crop insurance. Okay?
So these are not written in stone, you can change them.
Absolutely. Yeah, these are just the ones that are in our sample account right now. And when you open up your live file, your initial company file, when Quicken first creates it, it's going to create some standard category accounts for you, just to kind of get you started, because there's stuff that everybody, pretty much uses. You can see what a type of account it is as well. It is income, either income and expense account, okay? Or again, you've got your assets and liabilities as well. You have the descriptions of it, and then you have that tax line item that we talked about last night. Okay, so it shows you right here, it should show up on the Schedule F, or it should show up on Schedule A. Okay. Quicken is not very forgiving with its groupings on the side. It's pretty much just either business or personal, the way that it sets it up. So don't get too mired down in these particular categories over here. You can choose to hide them if you want to. Okay. And you have this little cog over here. So you're going to see this cog throughout Quicken. And if you click on it, it always gives you choices or options. So as you're looking at the different windows within Quicken, you say, well, can I do this? Or can I change the view? Or what are my options? Click on the cog wheel, and it gives you choices. In this case, I can determine whether I want to see the group or whether I don't want to see the group. So let's just add the group by checking on it. Okay? Or you don't want to see the type. So you can decide what you want to see and what you don't want to see. And then click done. Very good.
When you hide a specific one, how do you view it again? Because I would hide this one, how do I get it back to know what I did?
We're good. See on the bottom, it says show hidden options. So you have sorry. So if you look at the bottom right, which is where we're going next, if you do hide it, show hidden categories, and then it will show the hidden ones as well, so that you can deselect them to show them again in the list. Okay, so it's down here where we're going next. Okay, it will also allow you to print them. And if you click on the options button, you can assign category groups or manage categories. Okay, so click on assign category groups first. So once you have your assignments, then, or your categories, you see we've got categories of personal, income, rental, transfers, and then we have some custom ones that we've created, which is the farm. Okay? So if you wanted to change or remove them, so this is the category they're in currently. If I wanted to take advertising and move it from personal to farm income, for example, or again, whatever it is I want to put it in there, then you would go ahead and put add, and it moves it out of one category into another category. So you can reassign it. Okay. All right, and then here you can add or rename custom groups as appropriate. So if you misspell something or you want to change it, you can do that. Which one, adding or reassigning?
Oh, it says add
Yeah, so add, rename, custom group. So this is where you can rename it, or you can delete it, or we can add a new one. So go ahead and click new. Now we already have farm income, so let's just type farm expenses. And click OK. And then click done. And let's just grab our auto expense, and you can use your control button to select multiple categories at one time. So grab all the auto expenses right now, and we're going to add them to the farm expense group. And the reason we add to groups is just like the tags, it allows us to create different reports based on categories, or we can base them on tag or tags and categories. So how you organize in the beginning will determine the reports you get out at the end. Yes? Okay. All right. You okay? All right. Okay. And go ahead and click done. All right, so now that we've added those farm expenses, you can see right here, that's why I wanted to pick it, you can see the auto registration jump into the group of farm expenses now versus personal expenses where it was before. You can also organize or resort these. So instead of putting it in alphabetical order, which is the category I have this up arrow telling me it's sorted, you can click on the group name and you can group them, the expenses by group. In this case, all my farm expenses, all my farm incomes together, then my regular incomes together, then my personal incomes together.
I don't see the auto that I just got.
Okay,
So it really is, oh, that's my description. So honey, supplements.
so if you want to go ahead and take a few minutes to just kind of play with moving them around and taking a look at them, you can. You can also double click on it into categories and it will take you to show you the expense or the income information.
Once you go to action or go to the cost, then you click on the group.
Where you at?
Go to call, which is the wheel over to the top. Right. That's the call. Then you click on group.
And I think that's part of the
Are they already
Lori, before our session's over with, can you tell us places where we can learn more about Quicken? Sure. Okay.
That's why it's a tax revenue tax. So that's why everything, I did really have to have that, which is that, you assign a taxpayer for that. Yes, it's right. It is all organized. Taxes, tax laws. What time should you? Is everybody good right now? All right, so if you click on Manage Categories, it allows you to add categories very quickly, either from a standard list, which is what we have in here already, or a standard business list. So instead of having to put all those categories in yourself, you can come over here and say, well, I want to add consulting income, and then click the Add button, and it adds that category for you. Okay, if you know you have advertising, you want sales, you can just select the different accounts that you want based from the categories, and you can click Add, and that helps you set up your categories a little bit quicker.
You have to select them individually. Actually, this one's a little easier than that.
Yeah, you don't have to use a control button, you can just click on it, and you can see it puts a checkbox in that first column. And you just click on that. a subcategory of another account. So if you have, say, supply, and then underneath it you've got compost and everything else that goes with it, you can do that. Otherwise, it's a main account. Okay? And then you can give it a longer description if you want to. It's kind of up to you. You can just copy and paste or go ahead and type it.
So if you have compost, but there's two subcategories such as green compost or worm compost. Then you put those here, or is that
No, you can only have one subcategory. And the question I ask myself is does it make a difference whether you break that out or not? I mean, you can try both of them separately, and they're all in separate categories.
cow and horse manure versus vegetable or worm compost?
Well, there's still going to be separate expenses. The question is that you need to have separate categories.
Add category up to the top. Okay, what you got?
So
How did I just say?
Okay, close.
you have to call it different things, yeah.
Green compost, brown.
Click on the name.
Right, so you probably want to have a compost category, and a subcategory of compost or organic compost. You see what I'm saying? I see. Because you want, the total category is compost, and then you break it down into the two subcategories. And then you have to go in separately to do those two subcategories. Well, first you put the main one, which would be compost, and then you go back into the two subcategories. Okay, so the question was, is yeah, green, brown. Right. All right. So the question that she wanted to break her compost down between two subcategories, green and brown. Okay. So if you want to break them down, if we don't have a subcategory, we don't have a category for compost first. So first we have to add the main category, compost. Then we can go back and add two subcategories, one green and one brown, and add it to the compost. So let's do the compost first.
Okay.
So the group, again, it's optional, but again, I would recommend that you will apply it to a group, and we'll make them farm expenses. No, we're just doing compost first. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so it's an expense. Okay. And again, when you're entering data, just take the couple minutes it takes to set it up right in the first place and just say, well, I don't know, I'm typing this right now and I'm just going to skip it because down the road it's just going to cause you problems. So look at the tax reporting line. If you know what tax it goes to, you can also apply it to the correct tax line. This and make your taxes down a little bit easier. So let's go down to schedule that. We make fertilizer. You guys want to fertilizer? Like fertilizer or anything?
Under fertilizer.
Is that fertilizer? Yeah. Okay. So again, if you're not sure, select the category you think it goes in, and it will give you a further description of what that tax line is.
Okay.
All right? And then click OK.
We never split our compost into greens and brown because it's supposed to be mixed together.
I was asking this question.
Okay.
Yes, so we were using it as an example, but that was the question. Now my compost is not going in. Your compost save, okay? So now that you have it, then you want to go back in and add the subcategories if you want to do that. And then you will pick a subcategory of compost. I had to add my note there. put some extra stuff in mine.
How did you go to compost